Nico is officially transferring to UCLA. Yes, you heard that right. Welcome everyone back to Overtime Insights. If you caught our video earlier this week, you know we've been tracking the wild saga of Nico and his future at Tennessee. Well, it's official. He's going to UCLA. Let's break this down and see how this all went down. So let's set this scene. This all started happening last week. Tennessee's fans were feeling good. Nico just wrapped up a solid season, took the Vols to the college football playoff, and everyone is thinking he's locked in as the face of the program. Then out of nowhere, he misses a single practice. Not just any practice either. This is right before the spring game. Coaches are caught off guard, teammates are confused, and suddenly rumors are flying. Fast forward a day, and Tennessee's head coach, Josh Heupel, basically goes public saying the team is moving on from Nico. That's when everyone realized, okay, something big is happening here. And sure enough, a few days later, we get to April 16th, today to be exact, Nico officially enters the transfer portal. But here's the kicker. He puts a do not contact tag on his portal entry. Translation, he already knows where he's going. So where he's headed? Back home to California to play for UCLA. Now this move makes sense for a couple of reasons. First, Nico's from Long Beach, so UCLA is basically in his backyard. Second, the Bruins actually recruited him out of high school, so there's already a relationship there. And fun fact, his younger brother Madden had committed to UCLA before flipping to Arkansas, so there's a family connection too. But let's get into the why, because this is where things get spicy. There's been a ton of talk about NIL money. Like, was this all about the bag? At Tennessee, Nico was reportedly making around $2.4 million a year, and his camp was pushing for that number to jump to $4 million for 2025. Tennessee said no, and that's when things started to unravel. But here's a twist. Sources close to Nico say it wasn't just about the money. They were frustrated with the offense, wanted better protection for Nico, and felt like Tennessee wasn't putting the right pieces around him. Now, as for UCLA, don't think they're backing up the Brinks truck either. Multiple reports say whatever NIL deal Nico gets in Westwood is nowhere near what he was making at Tennessee, and definitely not close to that $4 million mark he wanted. Some folks are even saying once you factor in California taxes, he might actually be taking a pay cut. So if you're thinking this was just a cash grab, it's not that simple. Let's talk about how this all went down, because it was fast. Nico misses practice, stops communicating with the staff, Tennessee goes public, and within days, he's in the portal and already lined up with UCLA. It's clear this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. This was in the works behind the scenes. For UCLA, this is huge. They struggled last season, especially on offense, and now they're getting a former 5-star, playoff-tested QB with a chip on his shoulder. For Nico, it's a fresh start closer to home and a chance to prove himself all over again. Now, I just said UCLA struggled last year, so I looked up and see how bad they actually were. UCLA stumbled through its inaugural Big Ten season in 2024, finishing 5-7 overall and 3-6 in conference play. The Bruins offense was among the worst in college football, so he's basically going up from here. Yeah, they were 126 nationally ranked in points per game with 18.4. They struggled in the red zone. They had quarterback instability with Ethan Garbers and transfer Joey Aguilar. Inconsistent play calling, but defensively they were pretty solid. 14th nationally in points allowed, 18.8 points per game, and second in rushing defense, 82.8 yards per game. So they have a solid defense, and maybe with Nico quarterbacking, they could actually be somewhat decent. And then after I looked this up, I asked, all right, well, what would be better if Nico goes to UCLA or if he would have stayed in Tennessee? The whole UCLA thing might just work. He would be immediate starting role because their quarterback room is weak, and Aguilar is exploring transfers. So with Nico's playoff experience and dual threat skills, he could revitalize a stagnant offense. He's got the homecoming factor. Long Beach native returns to California, where UCLA initially recruited him. And he's going to have lower expectations. He'll have less pressure to win immediately in a rebuilding program versus Tennessee's playoff or bust mentality. But it is risky. He's definitely not doing this for the money. He's going to be making less. Even if it is around the same money he was getting, the original 2.4, not the $4 million. He's not getting $4 million. But if it was around his 2.4, it's going to be probably less than that and even more after those taxes. And he's got a brutal schedule too. UCLA is going to be facing Ohio State. He did not fare well against Ohio State. And he's got Penn State, USC, and Utah this upcoming season, which is a tougher slate than Tennessee's SEC schedule. And there's a questionable supporting cast for him. It's basically maybe the same, if not even worse, than what he had at Tennessee. So I don't think he's really upgrading his position players by going to UCLA. Unless UCLA decides to make something out of the transfer portal. I don't know with who, but not going to be that much of a difference at UCLA than he would have had at Tennessee. But this Nico's move is a high-risk, high-reward gamble. Staying at Tennessee offers stability, elite SEC exposure, and a clearer path to the NFL draft. However, UCLA provides a chance to be the face of a turnaround in his home state. If he can elevate his flawed roster, given Tennessee's refusal to upgrade its weapons and UCLA's desperation for a star QB, the transfer might be his best shot to prove he's more than a system product. But with lower pay and a brutal schedule, the margin for error is razor thin. So what do you guys think? Is this a win for UCLA? Did Tennessee drop the ball? Or was this just inevitable in today's college football world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get this conversation going. If you want more updates like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in Overtime.